Hey everyone, Crystal Brady here, your expert in all things real estate. I want to talk today about homeowners associations, the HOA you hear so much about. So I'd like to talk about some reasons why you might want an HOA. I get a lot of buyers that contact me that when they're talking about the criteria they want for a home, they say things like, well, I don't want any deed restrictions, I don't want to live in an HOA community. And usually once I start questioning the reason why they feel that way and we really break it down, ultimately in the end they decide maybe they do want an HOA. So let's get into that a little bit. HOAs are definitely not going to be for everyone. If you have very specific needs, for example, you're going to be raising farm animals or you have a large commercial vehicle you need to park outside that won't be in your garage. Maybe you want to build a large workshop or a second structure on your property, store an RV or a boat. Those are things that typically homeowners associations will not allow. So if those are complete deal breakers, then you're right. You don't need an HOA, nor would you want one because those things would not be allowed. But if your only reason for not wanting an HOA is you've heard bad things about them and you don't want to pay high fees, then let's talk about that for a minute. There are homeowners associations for single family communities that charge as little as $200 a year. So that's really not affecting your monthly payment. Obviously, if it's an HOA that might be more like averaging $100 a month, that's something you would need to think about from the financial perspective. But HOAs are, generally speaking, in our area pretty reasonable. I would say on average, unless the community has a crazy amount of amenities, most HOAs are $200 to $800 a year. Obviously, you want to explore the fees, see how much they cost, and make that decision financially. But don't let price alone deter you because there's a lot of really reasonable HOAs. Now, the whole reason for an HOA and their purpose, generally speaking, is to enforce the deed restrictions and the rules in the community. So this is the part of an HOA that can be really good. And a lot of people also say that they feel like HOAs are overboard and they don't like it, but let's break it down for a minute. If you want to live in a neighborhood that's uniformly nice, where everybody's mowing their grass, there isn't going to be cars on blocks, there isn't going to be boats in the front yard, or things like that, then this is where an HOA is really going to be good for you. If your grass starts to get really high and you haven't mowed it in a long time, they are going to send you a letter about that. If you're the person that leaves your garbage can out for the entire week and never brings it back in, they're going to get on you about that too. They're trying to keep the neighborhood nice. That's the whole point. So yes, there are rules. Yes, there are restrictions, but the purpose of that is to keep your property value up, keep your equity good, and maintain the beauty of the neighborhood. So those are all really positive aspects. If you follow the rules and you know what they are, you're not going to have any problems. Also with homeowners associations, you're going to have to make any plans or exterior changes you have, you're going to have to run that by the HOA and get approval first. So if you want to repaint the outside of your house, they're going to need to see the color and they're going to want to approve it. This is also going to prevent your neighbors from painting their house hot pink. So again, another positive reason. So when you really think about it, yeah, there's some things you have to deal with, some rules you got to follow, but as long as you're okay with that, you're going to get a great neighborhood that's beautiful, typically holds its property values very well, and it's going to do good over time. So those are some of the advantages. I just wanted to hopefully kind of be able to break it down for you in a way that you understand it's not all bad. Most people want those kinds of features and the community staying nice. They also don't want to have to confront their neighbor if their neighbor is the one letting garbage pile up in the yard, that's the bad apple in the neighborhood, bringing all the property values down. They would, without an HOA, have to try to confront that neighbor or call the county. Now they can just call the HOA, and they probably don't even need to call the HOA because the HOA is going to be monitoring the neighborhood and driving through periodically to make sure that properties are staying nice. So lots of advantages. Obviously, there's disadvantages too if you have specific needs that the HOA just won't allow. But for most people, HOAs are actually a pretty good choice. So I hope I've given you something new to think about, shed light on HOAs in a different way. If you have any comments about HOAs or questions, please hit me up by commenting below. Thanks.